Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package e-learning session. My name is Rasmus Wolf Jensen and the topic of this session is B1 Time Task, where I will be giving an introduction to this new B1 Productivity Package module. So what is B1 Time Task? Well, it's a lightweight time registration tool for SAP Business One aimed at companies that does not want to roll out larger product management systems. In essence, we simply just plan some tasks, log some data on them, and invoice them. We are not trying to compete with the major systems in the market already. We are trying to provide an alternative to the people not wanting to have the big setup and just need to track some time and invoice it to your customers. So here we are in Business One with B1 Time Task activated and fully set up in the initial configurations. We will see that in a later session. But first thing we need to do is we need to plan what we need to work on. And under B1 Time Task we have Task. And in here you can create as many tasks as you want to your customers. But let me try to take an existing one and let's see what happens. First thing is we have a task ID, that's just a unique ID. And next we have the name and description of this. In this case I have made a task to do a SAP Business One implementation. I can then choose if I want to build this directly on a business partner, just a project, or I want to actually link it to a sales order, so a sales order will automatically be closed along the way and linked to the invoice. If you want to do it with a sales order, you simply need to go to an existing sales order, say, right click and say create this as a new task. In this case it's business partner, so I linked it to C20,000, that's Norm Thompson, and in my case my budgeted hours is 50 hours and allocated hours is also 50. But you don't need to allocate them if you don't want to. We have invoice formats where you can specify if you want all the time registrations we do later on to be specified for each line, or if you want a summarize of the data, all depending on your customer's wishes. The task is right now open, but we can close it so nobody can work on it yet. There's some start and end dates on when we expect the system to be ended. We can put on profit centers and projects, so it will automatically come to the invoicing lines later on. In this case I have not chosen that. And we are item-based invoices, so we simply choose an item that represents an hour of what we do here. We have a task type where you can choose to group your different tasks, mostly for reporting later on, but in this case I have some different tasks, but also it could be either travel or hours, or depending on what you need to track of resources. Finally, the billing type is you can either do an hourly rate, some fixed priced, or some not billable. If you take fixed price, you get some fixed priced fields on here, so you can actually choose how the fixed price would be. But in my case it's our hourly rate. For all registration we can do internal and external remarks, and you can give some defaults here if you want to for the task. And you can assign which employees should actually work on this task with their appointed hours. If you don't apply any employees, it will simply work with every single employee will be able to work on that task. So that's up to you. So after we have made our tasks on what we actually should do, we should now log some registrations on it. And on the time task you have either the time registration or the worksheet week, because different people want to log time in different ways. Support people on the phone go from case to case and log their time, while others work an entire day and then fill out their worksheet for one day, or perhaps even for an entire week if they have been out working on the same task. So let's see the worksheet week here. And what you'll see is I'm in week 8 right now, and I will get my setup of what I have logged this week. And right now I haven't logged anything, but we will see in just 1 second logging some data. So it is divided into, here you can take some week selections. I can go back to previous weeks, future weeks, in order to log time as I want to. Then I have the place to register new time, and then I have my overview of the data. So let me try to log something for Norm Thompson. In this case it was for the new install, and it should be on, yeah, let's take it today, which is Tuesday, and I want to log 5 hours, and in this case all of them are billable, so I log 5 hours to invoice, but it could be that some plan was that I had 5 hours to do it, but I should log only 2 of them. But 5 hours is here. I can do some external remarks. Those are the ones getting onto the invoices, while I can do some internal remarks for more tracking internally. So this was installing SAP Business 1 Core. And the internal remark could be all local. I'll press add, and what will happen is the new time registration will come up here. I can see there was 50 hours for the system, and 5 of them is now logged here. I can click it and see the data down here, or I can double click it in order to actually change the registration if I want to. Once logged for an entire day, you get all the different tasks you're working on, and you can then approve your weeks one at a time. They turn green. Right now I actually had a difference here, but when I logged it up, it will give me entire. And once I'm done, I can either approve the entire setup, so I can do it like this, and the entire week is set up. But of course I should normally log the allocated time I have based on what is set up for me as a user. Alternative, you can go into time registration and simply have it a case by case. Okay, I have a new installation, that is Norm Thompson. That was the SAP implementation, and I did a support call for 1 hour, and it could not log in. And the internal mark could be need training, like this. And then I'm done with this. Next one. So I have the 2 ways of doing the time registration, and later on when we come to transport registration, travel expenses and so on, you can do that in similar windows to the time registration. So now we have done some planning and some tracking of resources. Now we need to bill it. And what we need to do is we need to go to billing on the time task and say billing wizard. We'll get the information up, and we can say, okay, in which period do we want to bill to, and in this case it's the month. And I can go in and say, okay, do I want to bill all customers or a specific customer, all employees or a specific employee? In this case I just want everything. So let's press save, search here, and I'll see that Norm Thompson come up with a total of 750. And we can go in and see what that actually is included into. Okay, we have some implementation. We logged 5 hours on the day, and we need to build this to him. So all we need to do is say create invoice, and it will generate the invoice and turn up document printing, where we'll be able to see that Norm Thompson is now billed 5 hours of a unit price of 150 of the hour, and we have the external remarks. If there had been multiple remarks, we could simply have it linked after each other. So in summary, you can see that B1 time task is a very, very simple tool. There's 3 steps: plan, log, and invoice. And that is what most of the smaller company needs. And we don't want to try to make it more advanced than this. This concludes this session. For training material, please go to service.boyum-it.com/education. Or if you want a free demo of the product, go to license.boyum-it.com/b1up. If you want to contact us, you can do it either by our sales email or our support email. Thank you for attending.